What's up, y'all? It's your girl Faith Chase, and I'm super excited today because we're actually launching the very first episode of this new pop culture kind of music show that we're going to discuss things about pop culture, about music. So it's a brand new podcast. Now here's the crazy thing. I haven't even thought of a name for it yet. I just know I want to do this show. I don't know what to call it. I haven't had a chance to really think about it. But I wanted to take advantage of the opportunity that I had today because my main man, freaking Dan, is in the house, aka Danmarsky, and I wanted to be able to have him on the show and talk about him and his upcoming album, his music, his journey, everything about him, because I happen to have the fortune to be able to be producing his new album, working on it and stuff like that, working with him. So I'm really excited because this guy's got some super talent, a lot of heart, he's passionate. And so I thought I would infuse that into this first show, this freaking groundbreaking, hopefully exciting, fun show where we just talk about pop culture, we talk about music, we talk about what's happening in the news and in that whole entertainment spectrum. And so if you're out there in podcast world, welcome to the podcast. And I hope you guys tune in regularly. We're going to try and make this a regular weekly type show and everything like that. And we also are going to have this filmed on YouTube. So if you're not a podcast fan and you prefer to watch things in the video realm of things, you're going to be able to watch this on YouTube. I'll have a playlist on the channel with the actual name of the show. And yeah, so you'll be able to tune in anytime you want, from episode 1 to freaking hopefully episode freaking 1,000 or whatever, how long this thing goes. So Dan, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me on the show.
Dude,
I really appreciate the opportunity.
It is my pleasure to have you here. You already know how I feel about you. Like, you're one of the
how I feel about you.
You're one of the most amazing people. Guys, Dan there's very rare that you find these days people, especially rappers, that actually have this big, huge heart and that are really just so much about, you guys hear all the time, hashtag spread love, not hate. So you guys hear me talking about this. It's one of my things I talk about often. And it's very rare to meet someone in the hip-hop game that actually gets that and has that same type of mentality, is living in that same type of vibration, that same frequency. It's a beautiful thing, So I'm just honored to be able to say that I've got Dan, as one of my friends, that, I love being able to surround myself with good people, like-minded energies. So,
I'm flattered by your comment, Faith, and I really appreciate it. And, if I hadn't have met you, who knows how my musical journey may have panned out, but I know I'm on the right path because I came across you, and because of, like what you were saying, right back at you, girlfriend. You have a huge heart and are such a giving person. And I'm
blushing, but I'm black, you can't tell.
The amount of knowledge and talent that this lady possesses is just astronomical, and she's really, changed my art and the way that I perceive and present my art. And you guys will be seeing this very soon, and I'm so excited to present my new music to you all. You've just turned it 180 degrees, and I couldn't be more thankful and grateful.
Well, thank you, man. That's some awesome kudos to give me. I appreciate it.
It's true.
And everything happens for a reason in life, everything happens for a reason. People are brought together for, I like to say it all the time, it's one of my favorite sayings, but a season, reason, or a lifetime. And there's always a purpose, and I believe that our purpose has been to not only be friends and have that amazing rapport with each other, but to be able to produce and create some amazing music, some amazing just content that we're going to be able to share with a lot of people. So I'm
Yeah.
super excited about that. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you talk about things, being meant to be. It really is a sense of destiny. The fact that we met at the particular time that we did, because we were both on a journey and a pathway where we were just craving, to express ourselves, to express our creativity, because we're both obviously very, creative and artistic individuals, and just the timing of it all was just tremendous. So, yeah, no doubt that was written in the stars.
I love that, and then, it's crazy because life is so short.
Yeah.
And some people go a whole lifetime before they actually meet someone that they actually truly just go damn, what a connection. Right. And you can go a whole lifetime sometimes and never have that. There's people who've never known what it feels like to have that type of person in their life. And, so I feel truly blessed because, I've got someone like you who, has just come in with this beautiful energy, beautiful, perspective on life and all that kind of stuff. That is what makes great artists. Your passion, your heart, your soul, you're grounded, you're authentic, you're in your truth. It's a beautiful thing. It's one of those things that's going to separate you from the flock of other talent that's out there. So.
Wow. Well, I know it's just the beginning, I think it is important that you do stay humble. And that I think something that's really overrated is listening. If you can learn to listen to people, and really then apply that to whatever you're working towards. In my case, it's practice, it's rehearsal, towards my art. Then I think you can really make improvements and strive towards your goal. And it's great to be able to to listen to your feedback and take that on board, because I'd be crazy not to. And it's insane because you can take advice from this lady in the studio, and or even just on the phone, when we're discussing creative ideas, and instantly Faith has a way of putting things in in plain English that are just so applicable immediately, and it's real talent.
Yeah,
so thank you.
Thank you. So let's talk first. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, Dan's about to drop his album, and he's been doing music for a while, but this is now him getting to the stage where he wants to he's gonna put out his first official kind of hip hop album.
Yeah.
So Dan raps, by the way, and he goes by the name Danmarsky. So you'll be able to find him at danmarsky.com, Danmarsky on YouTube, Danmarsky on Twitter, Danmarsky on Instagram, Facebook, all the socials. So I will put links and all that in this description if you are looking on YouTube, and in the podcast I will also put some information in the description of the podcast. And let's talk about that for a bit. So Danmarsky, okay, dope name.
Thanks.
And tell me about your journey. When did you first get into music? Who are some of your musical influences, and how did you decide that because now you're already a school teacher.
Right, yeah. I teach for a living, yeah.
Yeah, so how does a school teacher go from deciding, I want to actually, go from doing, school teaching and become a rapper?
That's a great question, Faith. To answer what you asked initially, I first got into music when I was a little child. I can think back to when I was 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah.
And my mum was part of actually a record club.
Okay.
Back in the day when people spun vinyl and played most of their music on a turntable. And so I would hear mostly, my mum was really into a lot of the soul artists, like Roberta Flack. I remember listening to Stevie Wonder records that she'll play, Michael Jackson. So a lot of the soul artists from the time when I was growing up. And so I absolutely loved it. And I would make up mixtapes at home of mainly soul music and old school R&B music. And I was just captivated by the melodies and the sophisticated arrangements. And I always loved that. But I was also brought up in a very sporting Australian culture. And that was a wonderful part of my growing up as well. but I guess, your environment, it dictates a lot of how you kind of evolve and grow as a person in your I guess in your growing up years. And so I really got into the sporting side of things, and I always wanted to do music, but I never really had anyone hands-on right there and then. What I did have was my record player, my tape deck, and then later on my CD player in high school. And so I had that, and so I was always listening to music, and I absolutely loved it. And I was lucky enough to finish high school in the United States in Jacksonville, Florida.
Okay.
And that was a big influence. That's when I first really got hold of hip hop and rap music. Well, the hip hop culture, and rap music being one of the elements of hip hop culture. And then it just felt so natural and organic for me to gravitate towards the different elements of hip hop. And so coming out of school, I obviously you need to make a living, and I always had music as a passion, but I never really had that mentor or that pathway, to be honest. And but both my parents were school teachers, and I really saw a wonderful lifestyle that they had through that.
Yeah.
So I decided, and also the positive influence you could have on children, which means a lot to me as a teacher.
Yeah.
And so I became a teacher, and within that, as a teacher, I actually began getting positions to choreograph and direct school musicals.
Oh, wow.
Actually at school.
Okay.
So that kind of set me on the course of, okay, I can take this passion, this love that I have for music, in my personal life, but now I can translate it to actually bodies of creation.
Yeah.
So I started to do that on like a school level. And when I did that, and I realized, okay, I feel like, I'm really feeling something special from creating, these dances and these stage plays and these productions. And, it felt just like such an experience that I wanted to go further with.
Yeah.
And so I researched, I studied music theory on my own, just in my spare time, taught myself, how to play the piano, and then the next evolution was started writing songs.
Okay.
So I went and taught in the United States, in Charlotte, North Carolina in 2013, and again was just so influenced by a lot of the blues and R&B that was in that southern state in particular, but also got to travel to places like New York and Los Angeles, and
awesome.
Really got stuck into the and absorbed by the music scene there. And I was just digesting all of it, and I thought I want to write some songs. So started tinkering with some music, and it was still more at a hobby level, but of course I wanted to do it at a higher level. But once again, being a school teacher, you only have a certain number of hours in the day, and I was trying to be as productive as possible. So I thought I want to do this. So I started recording some songs, just more so as demos more than anything, just to get a direction and get some experience. And I was able to do that. And from there, I just enjoyed it so much. It just felt like me. It felt like I finally found what I want to do.
Yeah.
And I feel like also it's about your audience, so I feel like I have something unique and positive to offer to all the people and the public globally.
Okay,
and,
cool.
And so from there, I really set a goal that I want to be a songwriter. I want to be a rapper.
That's beautiful.
And then we met, and
the rest is history.
The rest is history.
So like I look and I hear your story, your journey, and that's a beautiful thing. I mean, especially when a lot of people, they start getting older. If you watch one of my vlogs from a couple weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago.
Oh, I've seen that. It's a great vlog.
And I was talking about
how
Adam22, who's a YouTuber, and he was talking about how when you reach a certain age, like 30 years old, that you should stop rapping or something like that. Instead, you should take on a mentor role and help other rappers who are under 30. And I thought that was just hilarious to me. I mean, because at the end of the day, I never think anyone should ever stop believing in their dreams or give up on their passions. Like, I don't care how old you are. I personally believe, especially in this day and age with the way social media is and all that, that it is never too late to go after whatever it is that you want to do.
Not at all.
You know, it's all about your perception.
Yep.
And I believe that at the end of the day, that it's never, you know, just go for it. Just do it. If you want to do it, don't worry about age.
Yep.
You know, and I think there's an audience for everybody out there, no matter
Yes.
what you're doing
Right.
and how old you are. There's always those people that will gravitate to you if they feel that your music or what you have to say resonates with them. So yeah, I thought that was crazy. So I admire you for chasing your dreams. You know, even though you're over the age of 30, because Adam 22. So.
I'm a seasoned gentleman.
So, you know, mad props to you for that.
Thank you. Yeah, I've, you know, like you said before, life is short, and you know, you can either make the most of it, or you can get hung up on numbers. And to me, you know, age has always been nothing but a number. And you know, your feelings and how you feel and your goals and your passions and desires, they just obliterate any type of, you know, statistic in you know, in our society. To me. So, you know, and personally, I always like to think from the positive angle. If you want to do something, go for it. Why not? If it's something positive and it's something that really fuels your fire, oh, absolutely, go for it. I'm about encouraging and empowering. So.
I'm gonna, while you're on that topic, on that particular thing that you just said, I'm gonna flip the script right now, because you say go for it if it's your passion, everything, and I agree with you, and I think that way as well, as you heard me say. But now let's open up this topic. Now, John Legend has come out in the recent weeks. I think it was like a week or two ago, or something like that. Maybe it was a little bit longer ago. But he said that Kanye West has said that he wants to run for president of the United States. That Kanye actually confided in John and told him that, yeah, like, I'd run for president of the United States. Like, he wants to. It's something he's actually really, truly considering. Now, it's kind of crazy, because on one hand, I do want to encourage people to go out there and to live their dreams and to go for it and stuff like that. But do you think that, you know, Kanye West should be encouraged to run for president of the United States? Like, I mean, me personally, I think that I personally, it's something I don't want to see. Like, I think that there has to be, like anything, you have to be qualified for a job. Like, when you are going for a job, they look at your resume and they go, okay, yep, you have the qualifications necessary to do this role.
They do.
Now, unless Kanye has some secret life that I don't know about, I don't think he has the qualifications to run the most powerful military in the world, to run the biggest, you know, one of the biggest economies in the world, you know, to be the freaking head of the United States of America. Like, I am concerned. I have the same concerns that I had when Trump became president. Now, obviously, there's a lot of people who would probably say that Trump hasn't, you know, really been the president we needed. I feel 4 years of Trump, and I'm hoping that he's not going to be reelected. But that being said, if I have to choose between Trump and Kanye, what do you do? I mean, I guess for me, I go, well, this is how I look at it. Who's the most experienced candidate? And ironically, now Trump is. So if you look for someone who's got the experience to run the country, Trump has a little more experience now. But do you think, but speaking of people pushing them to go for their dreams or goals, someone like Kanye West should be pushed to run for president? I mean, I just don't think he has the qualifications. And you've seen his personality. You've seen him, like, how he treats people, like something like how he treated Taylor Swift that time, or just some of the controversial things he says. Like, he believes that slavery, which is a big thing when he came on TMZ that time and had said that slavery, that it was like a choice, that we chose to be slaves. Like, controversial. Some of the stuff that he says is just, not only is it controversial, but it's just stupid. It's insane. It's insanity for him to say that. So we already have this problem with freaking Trump sending tweets and saying things that are like, did my president really just say that?
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on this? Let me know what you think about this topic, because I'm worried.
Yeah, I can definitely hear and see the concern and the worry. I definitely am all for people following what their gut tells them to do and what their soul directs them to do. So I wouldn't knock Kanye for having those ambitions. He's got every right to have those ambitions. And if he genuinely wants to run for the presidency of the most powerful nation in the world, then, and I'm thinking about the liberal and the democratic values that the United States of America were founded on too. So he does have that right to follow and pursue that position. So yeah, I definitely wouldn't deny him of applying for that and running for the presidency. Obviously he's got to go through a number of steps to get to that point. But we all said too, 2 years ago that, when Trump started this campaign to become president, he'll get to a certain level and then people will kind of, wake up to the fact that he hasn't got any, extensive political experience.
Yeah.
But look where we are now.
Yeah.
He did become the president, and not just by a small margin, by a landslide. So I think Kanye has every right to follow this, and I wouldn't deny him of it. As far as qualifications and experience, pre-Trump, I would have said, well, at some point, the public is going to catch on to the fact that this is a massive job. This is the most crucial job in terms of what can influence the globe on that on that type of scale. And they're going to realize that someone of all the jobs that are available in this world, the president of the United States needs to have very deep and extensive and skilled qualifications related to that.
Absolutely.
But now I would say that who knows, he could have a chance to win if he did run. But
that's a scary thought.
Yeah,
4 years of Trump, 4 years of Kanye. I don't know, man. I'd really be don't get me wrong. I believe in our process.
Yeah.
I believe it's part of our, it's what makes America America. We have the right for freedom of press to do things like this, to run for office, to do whatever we want to do.
Yeah.
We have these freedoms and rights, and that's what our forefathers and soldiers and all these different things have fought for, so that we could have these freedoms and etc. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I still think you got to take the office of president pretty serious.
Absolutely.
And actually have some qualifications behind you, and not just do it because you think you can.
No.
I think it takes a little bit more than that. I think you have to be also argumentatively sane, because I don't really find Kanye sometimes he displays actions that I would say are borderline kind of not sane. After Trump, I just wanted a relief. I was hoping we'd have a grounded president for the next 4. But that being said, if Trump's running against freaking Kanye West, I'm going to have to probably vote for freaking Trump, because at least he's got at that time he'll have 4 years behind him. He will have a little bit more knowledge, skills. And don't get me wrong, there's lots of probably presidents we've had that maybe have not had any political experience or anything like that. You know what I mean? Maybe that's something that is gained. Maybe argumentatively, maybe it's a good thing. Maybe not having any political affiliations or experience, maybe it's a good thing. I don't know. But all I know is that Kanye West, of all people, you've seen his attitude problem he has sometimes. The guy has a bit of an anger management issue sometimes. I see him just getting mad with some country and pushing the button. Then what?
Yes.
Now, just quickly,
Potentially scary situation.
I think what we're going to have to do, because I'm looking at the time, I'm just really conscious of the time, and this is actually going to stop in about 4 minutes, the recording. So this is just for on the video land, guys. So what we're going to do right now anyways is, I think we were kind of going for that 30-minute mark anyways, and let's bring this to a close. In 1 minute or less, give me your final thoughts on the whole Kanye thing.
Okay. My final thoughts are, if Kanye really wants to run for presidency, I think he has every right, and he should be able to do that, and go for it. As far as qualifications, I think it's such an important job, and our world is at such a precarious state already, in terms of relationships between countries and regions, that what I would love to see is a leader of the United States really try and unify, and instead of closing off the country, really open up and try to mend some of the
division.
the division and the relationships that have been damaged in the past. That's I'd just love to see people come together, because at the end of the day, we're all human beings.
Absolutely.
And these borders and nations and countries, they're really just man-constructed, dividers. Really, I really respect nations, and I absolutely adore culture. But I'm also about, we need to come together as human beings,
and that's
just
the most
cherish
important part.
what we have, because life's so wonderful.
Absolutely. So Danmarsky, what I'm going to do is we're going to bring this part of the podcast, this first episode, we're going to bring it to a close. But guys, we're going to have Danmarsky back on here again, and very, very soon. And what I might even do is do a part 2 to this podcast after we finish here, so we can talk about a few more things, and you guys can get to know Danmarsky a bit more, because I want you guys to know this guy, because he's going to blow up. I promise you. This guy is about to do some really awesome things, and he's a nice guy. He's fun to talk to, so I want you guys to get to know him. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to this first episode of blah blah blah, because I don't know the name yet. Hopefully the next time that this comes on, I'll have a name. I gotta do my research. See, the other thing, like when I come up with a name, I go and then check if I can get the .com, and then I'm checking to see if anyone else has that name, if I'm gonna violate anyone's copyrights and infringe anyone's liberties and blah 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 blah. So I gotta do my homework first before I come up with a name. But guys, thank you so much. Make sure you stay tuned and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Make sure you follow all the socials. I'm gonna put all the links to Danmarsky stuff and my stuff. Everything's gonna be down there for you guys to click on and follow, and show the love. Share this content with your friends, your enemies, with everybody. You guys know how we do. Much love. Peace out, and we will catch you next time